Hello, Christina.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I am very well. Yourself?
Very well, thank you.
It's a lovely sunny day.
I know summer arrived just as the kids go back to school.
I know. Is that good or bad? I'm not sure.
Not so good, I don't think.
No, true, true. We won't get a chance to enjoy it. I'll say as always. So,
I still dragged them down to the beach after school yesterday.
really, where are you?
West Wittering.
Okay, not far away then. Yeah, just down.
How about you?
I'm Brighton,
Okay.
so just along the coast a bit. Although I mainly work around sort of Worthing, right the way down, sort of Chichester and Brighton, all of those sort of places. So.
Okay. So I'm curious, how come you've reached out? Because we haven't worked together before. I don't think I don't believe we've met.
No, I don't think so either. No, it's so I'm doing a series of interviews. Have you seen the information about it?
So I did get interviewed by Action Coach a number of years ago, but it happened to be through a mutual friend that introduced us.
Okay, right. So this is part of a series of interviews me and some other coaches are doing around the country. And we just did. So did you get the email with the questions on?
Yes, yeah, I've had a look through the questions.
Yeah. So they're being turned into videos, put on YouTube, and there's a whole channel with lots of different business owners talking about their story. And it's a way of self-promotion for us both, I suppose, so that we can use the collateral. And also it's an education piece for other business owners. But a lot of business owners are looking at it and thinking, oh, not my own. Other people have the same challenges and things like that. So it's really just that, really. And it's just a good thing to do. It's, people love video now. They want to see that, people talking, interacting. So all I do really is just ask you those questions. I won't deviate too much, but I might dig a little bit. But I won't launch any big surprises at you or anything like that. It was
Okay.
script. But what will happen off the back of this, I'll send, let me just make sure I've pressed record. I have been known not to do that before. So I'll send it off to the marketing people. They will edit it, top and tail it, and I'll send it all to you as well. So you'll get the full video, you'll get like a snippet. They pick out what they think is the sort of most interesting question, which is good, really good for social media and those sort of things, put it on there. And you'll get access to all those files and all the thumbnails and everything that goes with it as well.
Okay,
And
cool.
that's it, really. That is simply it. What I have been doing as a thank you, and this is totally up to you, it's just as a thank you for people giving up their time, is I've been doing free coaching sessions for people. So if that's something you want at the end, we can talk about that as well. But it's just as a thank you more than anything. So and that's it, really. Have you got any questions before we get started at all?
No, I haven't. I'm very happy. I think it's all similar format to what I did last time.
Oh, really? Okay. It's about 2 years ago that's what happened then.
Gosh, probably even longer ago. It was with Andreas Nest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is he Hailing Island, somewhere like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. Okay. Marvelous. Are you okay to get going? Oh, one
I
thing.
am. I'll stop drinking tea. Sorry, I've noticed.
That's all right. You do it. The more
Hopefully
natural
cut
it is,
it.
better, I think, really. I think people like it to be quite natural. Let me just get the pronunciation of your name right before we get started as well.
Depends which one do you have?
Wh-
Handasyde
wh-
Dick or Bassadoni?
which one would you prefer?
I much prefer my name, Bassadoni, but I'm being a good wife and I have taken my husband's name.
So is it going to be Handasyde Dick?
Handasyde Dick. Yes.
Handasyde Dick. Okay. That is an
Mouthful. It's
interesting
taken me
name.
10 years to say it with a straight face, even.
That is a name and a half. I give him that. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I know. He should have changed his name to Bassadoni. Way better.
It's nothing to do with Frank Dick, is it?
No.
Not part of the family. You don't see that name too often. Okay, so Christina Handasyde Dick. Is that right? Good for that.
Correct.
And it's GA Carers, the business. Is that the business?
Guardian, if you could say it as Guardian Angel Carers.
Guardian Angel Carers. Okay. Brilliant. So Christina Handasyde Dick and Guardian Angel Carers. Fantastic. Okay. We all good to get going?
Yeah. All good.
Fantastic. Right. I got to do this clapping thing so that they know when to start the video. I'll actually start it and edit it. So I'll do that and we'll get going.
Okay.
I'm not going mad, by the way. I just have to do this. Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Paul McCarthy, and today I'm joined by Christina Handasyde Dick from Guardian Angel Carers. Christina, it's really good to have you with us today. Could you start off by telling us about your business?
Yes, first of all, delighted to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Paul. So yes, I founded Guardian Angel Carers 11 years ago. We're a home care company that looks after adults, predominantly elderly, in the comfort of their own home. We've currently got 3 owned branches across the South Coast, as well as a growing number of franchisees, currently 10.
Oh, wow. So when did you turn into a franchise business?
4 years ago, actually, no, it must be 5 years ago now, because I was pregnant with my third son, or third child, I should say, and a former colleague twisted my arm and persuaded me over a bottle of wine and a Chinese at my kitchen table that she couldn't possibly go and work for anyone else. Loved Guardian Angel Carers so much. Would I franchise the business to her?
Wow.
And so she's Lou Cobban. She's based in Shepperton, just outside London, has been operating now for 4 years. And I then got distracted being a mother the following year, having our third child. And then during the pandemic, recognised with everything that was sadly happening in care homes, that more and more people would want to remain in their own homes as they aged, and felt that we had an opportunity to start franchising. So it was really beginning of 2021 that we started marketing the franchise opportunity. So 2 years ago, and yeah, 10 franchisees later.
Brilliant. So I don't know if you have the book, The E-Myth, which is quite a well-read business book, but the whole gist of that is running your business like a franchise anyway, whether you're going to do it or not.
Yeah.
What things did you have to do? Were you trying to run your business like a franchise, or what changes did you have to make?
Great question. I think we were already, lots of what we were doing was like a franchise, in terms of like we had good systems and processes in place, because we already had 3 owned branches at that point. So we had to make sure that everything was had a process to follow. I think the mistake that we made when we first started franchising was treating out franchise business owners like employees.
Right.
And that was the kind of the big aha moment a year or so ago, when I took on a mentor, Trevor Brocklebank, founder of Home Instead UK, so essentially our biggest rival, and he sold the business 7 years ago. And we were just overly spoon feeding, trying to help too much. And so I think that's the biggest change that I've had to make, is got to let them fly.
Like the children.
You've also got to let them fly at the same time. You can't control everything. And yeah, support and guide, but you can't do the doing. And I guess it's the same for a coach, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly the same. You're interviewing me now. But it is, isn't it? It's you can only do so much, but the best way for people to learn is to learn themselves and be able to be self-sufficient.
Exactly.
I totally agree. And why did you start your business? What was your story before the business, and why did you start it?
Life came crashing down after I returned from my second Olympic Games. I competed in the Athens and Beijing Olympic Games as a sailor and double-handed boat. And within a month after returning from Beijing, my father died unexpectedly. I split up with my sailing partner of 4 years, and my boyfriend also of 4 years. My world as I knew it ended. I lost my identity. So I'd been sailing as a professional sailor for 9 years. My sense of self-worth and my confidence was shattered. And as I was grieving my father and what could have been, I started cleaning. And that was the start of my first company, Task Angels. Yeah, gosh, feels like a lifetime ago now. And through Task Angels, I wanted to evolve it into a lifestyle management business. But when you live in a retirement area such as
Yeah.
Chichester, you know, not quite the London lifestyle management company is needed. And we ended up doing more and more elderly home help, cooking, cleaning, companionship, and recognized that there was a need for a good, compassionate, professional local care company. And having grown up with both of my grandmothers, my parents were divorced, and they both lived with their mothers. I had seen care from what I call the complete pathway, from the early stages of companionship and light touch support through to end of life care, with living care and overnight care within my Granny G's home. And I think that's always just given me a heart for looking after our elderly community. And that was the start of Guardian Angel Carers.
Okay. And you mentioned your largest competitor, and there's obviously other companies that do what you do. What's different about you? What's your sort of secret sauce?
I think the key for us is bringing that Olympic mindset into what we do, that restless improvement, always striving to deliver a better, a higher quality service. But fundamentally, what sits around all of it is making a difference, not just to the people that we care for, but their families, and also to our carers and our colleagues, and as such, having a really high retention rate. And I'm always keen that we're constantly evolving, because I don't think as a business owner you can ever stay still and rest on your laurels. I think we're kind of seeing that now through the challenges that we've faced through COVID and Brexit, that we have to evolve. We were an aging population, and the challenges that we face as an aging population at a time where recruitment's been hard, or it was post-COVID and with Brexit. And we need to evolve our services to meet that demand.
Okay, so you mentioned COVID and Brexit there. It sounds like it was both an opportunity and a challenge.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Okay. What sort of changes did you make to your business during that time?
So COVID, the changes were coming in thick and fast. We had to adapt to ensure that our clients and our colleagues were safe. Horrendous stories that we saw in care homes with lives lost. And I'm really grateful to say that didn't happen to any of our clients or our carers. Everyone remained safe. We always seem to be several weeks or even a point months ahead of COVID, of the government with their COVID legislation. So I think it was right at the end of March. I was like, right, we need to introduce cells, this like bubbles. So we had all of our clients and carers in bubbles, so there couldn't be any cross contamination. And then we kind of ring fenced anyone that had been in contact so that they were protected and that there wasn't any risk of spreading. So we did a lot in that time, and we grew the business significantly. We did a recruitment campaign to recruit an army of Care Angel reserves. I think we recruited 32 people in the space of a couple of weeks. Lots of people were furloughed, and they wanted to come and support in a crisis. And the challenge came a year and a half later as the doors opened and people went back to previous industries. And also that some of the rules that affected our business, if one of our carers was in contact with someone that had COVID, then they had to go into isolation. And so it's just huge logistical challenges with the rota scheduling constantly changing, and then with a diminishing workforce, because we'd recruited lots, grown the business, we hadn't lost the clients, we still had to deliver the service. So that was 18 months of, don't want to quite say living hell, but it was certainly a challenge.
And those sort of changes that you made, are there any ones in particular that you had to bring in during that time that you still have now and have made a significant difference to your business as things are normal?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things that we were brilliant at was over communicating with the whole team. And I think we see this in a lot of companies. You have a little bit of a divide somewhere in the organization of a them and us. And whether that's in a law firm with the admin staff and the lawyers, or in our business as carers and the back office team. And all of those barriers got broken down in COVID because we were communicating sometimes on a multi-times a day basis with changes that had come out in legislation and new PPE that had come in. We were sending vitamin D tablets out to our carers, you know, lots of little things. And it made me realize that actually with Zoom, you've got an opportunity really as the owner of the business to have FaceTime with your whole team. So we kept the videos, meetings going to the whole care team, and they can't all come because of the nature of what we do. It's kind of 24/7 around the clock, and our carers have got to be out working, but we can record the videos, and it means that they can check in and get that kind of that culture and feeling of the office team kind of filters all the way through.
Fantastic. And you've mentioned a few people along your sort of journey through business, and before that. Has there been a particular person that's inspired you?
I wouldn't say that I've got one particular person that's inspired me. If I'm really honest, I think there's been so many people that have inspired me, or whose values I've or work ethic or achievements I've been inspired by. From close to home, my father, my sister Louise, my grandmother. So my father and his side of the family was Spanish, and they had to move out of Spain during the Spanish Civil War. And it wasn't until recently I suddenly got curious of, well, what was the Spanish Civil War? What did this mean? And actually the hardship they faced and what they overcome, and setting up a new life in a new country is, you know, really some feat. And then of course there's your likes of Simon Sinek and some competitors like Trevor Brocklebank and others that I think have contributed to inspiring my journey.
A nice melting pot of people.
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's been your biggest learning, would you say?
Oh, my biggest learning, I think, is as a business owner, we have to keep growing and evolving. I think as our business grows, the skills and attributes that we as leaders bring to the business has to also grow and evolve. And so that, I would say, has one of the things that I know that I need to keep doing is keep investing in myself.
Yeah. What's the phrase? If you're not growing, you're dying slowly, isn't it?
Yeah.
With inflation as it is, it's absolutely true. So
yeah, exactly.
On there just to stay where you are. So no, it's a great learning. I think people think they've got there sometimes, don't they? And just saying, I'm there, I'll relax. And that's the comfort zone, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, being wary of the comfort zone for sure.
So let's look into the future. So over the next 5 years, what do you see? You know, you've had enough challenges over the last 5 years, to be quite honest, in your industry. What do you see as the next 5 years, the challenges that are going to affect your industry and your business?
Yeah, so we continue to be an aging population, and demand for our services continues to grow. But at the same time, so does our competition, not just for clients, for carers.
Yeah.
The latter being probably the biggest challenge. In addition, we're seeing prices rising, inflation, national minimum wage continuing to go up. I'm worried that we're getting dangerously close to our services being too expensive. Yet the problem of an aging population remains. We still need to care for our elderly, on those in need. So the biggest challenge is, how can we do that with a diminishing or a smaller workforce than there is demand?
Do you foresee the workforce reducing further? Do you see it getting better or staying where it is?
Great question. I think that we'll see some leveling. We have already seen some leveling off this year. So, you know, it was all over the news last year or year before, the challenges in hospitality and all sorts of lower paid workforces. And this year, the challenge has not been the same because as prices have risen and other companies that perhaps don't have aren't providing such essential services. I mean, I've seen it, in fact, with our nanny's partner. He had a gaming company, which did really successfully with online gaming through COVID and then fell flat on its backside before Christmas last year. And there are going to be some industries that don't survive, which may help those more essential services to keep our population going, from doctors to nurses and carers, may help. I say may because I haven't got a crystal ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish we did. Yeah. And what are your 5-year aspirations? So looking 5 years in the future, where do you want to take Guardian Angels carers?
So developing a new model of care that embraces and merges technology-enabled care with traditional home care. So looking at how we can take a proactive and preventative approach to aging using sensors and smart technology that gives us some early insights that helps prevent those critical incidents like a fall that results in a hospital admission. So that's my big aspiration, is to develop a new model of care.
Oh wow, that is very interesting. I never thought about it like that, but absolutely makes sense. Even with sort of smart home technology and things like that, there's sort of tools, isn't there, already? That's very interesting. So that's where you're going to take it. So I presume then less reliance on the workforce.
I don't think it's going to be less, because I think we're going to continue to grow. But and there's certainly no risk to any of our carers. Please, desperately want more carers all the time.
Sorry, yes.
But and this certainly isn't to replace our carers in any capacity. It's more to support the essential services that we already do.
Yeah, and be able to cope with the demand.
Yeah, 100%.
So we looked a little bit into the future. Let's go back a bit. If you could start again, what would you do differently, if anything?
I wouldn't work with friends.
Okay, right.
Had a couple
I'm
of
laughing because I'd agree.
Yeah, I know. I think we, you know, don't want to air dirty laundry, but at the same time, I've had a couple of MDs or senior roles that have come into the business that have gone and then started a rival business on our doorstep. So that's felt particularly uncomfortable. So, and I wouldn't do that again. Had to make the mistake twice.
Wow, with friends as well.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I would. There's not loads that I'd change. I've loved the journey. I think if I'd have had more money, I might have started differently. I did everything at the beginning, and now the way that we support our franchisees to grow their businesses is very different to how I grew mine, because you can fast track it that way. You know, the early days, I was the carer, finance, marketing, recruitment, trainer, all in one, and then sort of had to hand the batons or the hats over slowly over the course of a few years. Whereas our franchise business owners that join us, we don't encourage them to do everything. We want them outgrowing their business, and as a result, we've seen them grow at a more rapid rate than I would have grown in those first few years. Or I say that, I probably still grew quite quickly, but I didn't have children then and dependents, and that's very different. So, you know, it's okay to work till 1 o'clock in the morning when you're young.
Talking about being young, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Oh, not to be so hard on yourself. And as Matthew McConaughey would say, just keep
Mm.
living. Yeah, that's probably my advice.
Did that come from the sailing or business, or I would imagine at 18 you were quite heavily into sailing at that point anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I yeah, just won my first World Championships and qualified for the Olympic Development Squad at 18. I guess I was applying it more from a business sense.
Right.
Um, but even then, it was all about the end goal. And I think you can have different motivators and at different stages in life. And at that young age, it was all about fame and fortune.
Yeah.
Young, you don't have dependents. It's all about how successful can I be? And then you get to your 30s and you're like, right, I want to build a family now. And then you get to your 40s and you're like, well, do I need to be so hard on myself? Like, I'm going to run myself into the ground if I'm still aspiring for fame and fortune and trying to be super mum at the same time. It feels difficult to do it all, and I think we can be really hard on ourselves. And so yeah, recognizing that you can't do it all at once. There's different seasons, different stages. And yeah, look after number one. Do the basics as you would as an athlete. Sleep well, eat well, exercise, and that's all good for your mental health. Just getting those basics right.
Fantastic advice. I wholeheartedly agree. Any new projects you'd like to elaborate on at the moment? Anything you're sort of working on or launching?
Well, I kind of touched on the tech-enabled care piece that we've got bubbling away. So we've got an exciting research project starting next month with Sky, Social Care Institute of Excellence, as opposed to Sky TV. And yeah, really looking at sundowning and using sensors to kind of see if we can predict and preempt that critical instance. So really excited about starting that work with Anthropos and Sky next month. I think, yeah, a lot of exciting things could come from that. And otherwise, we've got our annual conference, franchisee conference at the end of this month. So yeah, just gearing up for that, getting really excited to get all of our franchisees together and inspire and support them on the next step of their journey.
Are you looking to grow the amount of franchisees you've got?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we are. So
okay. And if anybody's interested in that or anything else, what's the best way of contacting you, Christina?
You can find us at gacarers.co.uk, and you can also drop me a line on LinkedIn and be delighted to hear from you.
Fantastic. Christina, it's been really great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time and some amazing points in there. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. And likewise to you too.
Thank you.